Hi friends, welcome to my channel. Jay here. This channel is a place where I share easy and affordable recipes for you to help you feed your family, but I want this channel to be a lot more than that. So on this channel I'm also going to be including gardening and food preservation content, and I'm going to have it all tie in together. So I'm going to include my gardening journey, but in that I will also be giving you some farm to table, some garden to table recipes, as well as videos teaching you how to preserve what you grow in the gardens. I've gardened my entire life. My parents had a garden growing up that I helped them with, and every house I've lived in since then, I've done some kind of gardening, small scale, large scale. I'm always growing something. It's so much a part of who I am, and I will never give that up. However, I have never really given it the proper time and attention that it deserves, and this year I'm certainly going to put in the time, the energy, and the intention that it takes to have a truly successful garden. I've made a lot of mistakes in the past gardening, things that I didn't even know I was doing wrong. I've done a lot of research, I've watched a lot of YouTube. I've realized in the past I've started my seeds indoors way too early. I think that's honestly the worst mistake I've made, and I've made that mistake for a long time. I'm realizing now that I need to put aside my seasonal depression, my deep desire to start things indoors, and just wait. I've run into a lot of issues with that, and at the time I didn't even realize that's what was happening, but I see it now. So I want to go over with you guys my plan for 2022 for my garden. I think what I've put together is going to really help me grow as a gardener, and also in the kitchen, because I'm growing things now that I never have before, and I really want to expand on cooking and preserving these things. Now, that's not to say that this is going to be wholly successful, because it very well may not. And even the plan that I'm going to go over with you, that's great. That doesn't mean that it's going to be executed the way that I've planned it, and I'm okay with that. You have to roll with the punches. You have to kind of just see what you can do, what's reasonable, what's feasible, and go with it, and that's fine. I understand that. I'm not going into this like, this has to happen just like this. But I do want to really try and do the best I can here with it. So I got my Baker Creek catalog in the mail, and this was my very first step towards organization. I went through it several times, marked the things I was really interested in, and then from there researched them and kind of thought, how does this fit into my plan? Do I really need this? Am I really going to eat this? Another mistake that I would commonly make before would be to grow things just because I felt like I should, even though I was never going to eat them. And that was a waste. It was a waste of my time. It was a waste of my energy, and it made me feel like a failure. I grew a lot of jalapenos one year. They did great, and I don't think I ate more than 3 of them because I don't really eat jalapenos. To be fair, at the time, I didn't really know the different ways that you could. How could you prepare these? How could you save these for the future? So I'm better armed now with knowledge of things like that. So still yet, I went through and I said, what am I realistically going to be able to tackle this year in terms of not only growing this, but using it and not letting it go to waste? So that was step 1. I narrowed it down. I had 3 separate orders because it took me time, and that's okay. It took me time to go through it all, research it, read what other people were saying, and kind of figure out how do all of these pieces fit together to make this garden really prolific. So I feel good about what I ended up with, and I'm going to go over that with you in just a second. But who doesn't love these? These just hit you right in the feels when it's January and you're super depressed and everything's cold. So thank you, Baker Creek. I really appreciate it. So there's that. So I went to Marshall's and got this adorable notebook. And my goal is to not just be better this year, but to be better every year going forward. So what I did was I wrote down everything I'm growing, and I made a schedule. And then each plant has its own page in this notebook. And I wrote down various facts about each plant. And then the other thing, though, to help me in the future, I'm going to write how they did. just so I can keep up with it. And even if it's not clear to me at the time what's going wrong, I can reflect at the end of the season and say, oh, well, this wasn't producing because I didn't do this, you know, whatever. So I'm going to try and keep up with all of that so that in the future I can look back and say, all right, these were the mistakes I made. This is what I need to do differently. This is how I'm gonna grow and become a better gardener. So that's my goal. So I'm gonna go over the grow list with you. Oh, I guess I should say one more thing. I've grown vegetables my whole life. I've never grown flowers, not on purpose anyway. And I'm going to start doing that big time. I really, really want to sell them in some capacity. I have a few ideas. So I need to get good at that, and I've never done it before. So I probably won't sell any flowers this year, at least not to strangers. Probably some of my friends will buy them, but I need to learn how to do that. I need to learn not only the mechanics of it, but in my heart, I need to walk outside and see them and think to myself, wow, this is something I really want to do, or okay, this is cool, but is this really where I want my future to go? So I'm learning not only how to do things from a technical standpoint, but also how do I feel about this, you know? So I think I'm going to love it, but I guess we'll see. So flowers, there's a lot of them on this list. I've never grown any of them before. This is all brand new. So my 2022 grow list includes, although I'm probably going to botch some of these names, I will give you the specific variety. I got most of these from Baker Creek. Not all of them, but almost all of them. Matsumoto Formula Mixed Aster, Covenant Garden Baby's Breath, Classic Artistic Bachelor's Button, Rainbow Plume Mix Celosia, Flamingo Feather Celosia, Candy Floss Red Cosmo, Mignon Single Mix Dahlia, Blue Disc African Daisy, Amazing Gray Poppy, Mother of Pearl Poppy, California Poppy, Thumbelina Zinnias, that was maybe Fairy Morris, I think, Forget-Me-Nots, the Bluebird ones, those are really old seeds, so I don't know if we'll get any germination. Pacific Beauty Mix Calendula, Phlox Lavender Beauty, Peruvian Zinnias, the Blushing Susie Black-Eyed Susan Vine, oh, drool, so pretty, and the Paradiso Mix Echinacea for flowers. And then for veggies and whatnot, I've got Emily Basil, Zlatiland Chamomile Lavender, Wild Zatar Oregano, Sugar Snap Peas, peppers, Black Cherry Tomato, Martino's Roma Tomato, Sweetheart Cherry Tomato, Greek Oregano, the St. Valerie Carrot, Lemon Basil, and then various lettuce and spinach, onions, green beans, zucchini, and cucumber. So I live on a quarter acre. I probably should have said it at the very beginning of this video. I live on a quarter acre in upstate New York. I have this much space. So, and we're going to talk about that in this video. I have to really be efficient and really optimize my space so all of these things can thrive. All right, now on to the fun part, my grow schedule for 2022. Now, my projected last frost date is like May 21st or May 20 something. And we've gotten snow in June here before, so that's highly sus. I have no idea if that's actually going to be the frost date. Probably won't be, but I mean, we already are getting hit really hard with snow in February, so fingers crossed that we're getting it out of the way now. But I am not going to jump the gun and start these before I'm supposed to. I researched this heavily, and I am going to start them when I'm supposed to start them so that I can have optimal success. This list is super messy. I've edited it a million times. I even actually stopped recording just now to make a change as well. It's a disaster, but I understand it. I can interpret it, so I will interpret it. I will explain it to you as well. So my 2022 grow schedule, here we go. On March 1st, I'm going to start my lavender. What I read works best for that is to put it on a damp paper towel and stick it in the fridge. So I'm going to do that on March 1st. March 12th, starting indoors, basil, all of the tomatoes, whatever peppers I decide to do, all of my poppies, and the forget-me-nots. I'm going to start indoors on May 12th. I'm sorry. I'm going to start indoors on March 12th. April 1st, we're starting the asters indoors. We're starting the cucumbers and the zucchini indoors. The blue disc African daisies, Baker Creek tells you to direct sow those outdoors, but I'm so incredibly desperate for those to be successful because they're what I'm most excited for. I'm gonna start them indoors too, and we'll see what does best. Learning, right? And then my phlox, I will start indoors. All of that's happening on, oh, and then my bachelor buttons, I start outdoors on April 1st. April 9th, I'm starting my baby's breath indoors, my calendula indoors, and then whatever lavender sprouts I get from starting them in the fridge on March 1st, I will now put into pots on April 9th. April 23rd is going to be a very fun day for me. I start both of my celosias indoors. The dahlia seeds that I got from Baker Creek, I'll start indoors, but I will also be buying dahlia tubers. We'll talk about that in a minute. Whatever zinnias I end up with, I'll start indoors. Chamomile, I'll start indoors. My lettuce and spinach, I'll start indoors. Echinacea, I'll start indoors. My sugar snap peas and my green beans and my carrots, I am going to direct sow outdoors April 23rd. It's not, the danger of frost isn't over yet, but it's coming, and those are frost hardy. That's what I read. If nothing happens and I get nothing out of it, fine, it was a lesson learned, and I'll just start them when it gets warmer. But I'm gonna try. And then May 28th, another very exciting day for me, I'm going to transplant, which means I started them indoors. I have, a seedling, and I'm going to now transplant it out into the raised bed that we've prepared for it. I'm transplanting my asters, baby's breath, both celosias, the zinnias, forget-me-nots, calendula, all of my basil, peppers, and tomatoes, chamomile, lavender, and oregano. I'm going to direct sow my Peruvian zinnias that I got from Baker Creek. I'm going to direct sow my onions, I think. I need to do more research on onions. I'm not clear on that. I think that was everything. Oh, the lettuce and the spinach that I start indoors, and the echinacea that I started indoors, I'll transplant. I knew I was forgetting something. Cool. So there's that. Here's something else that I want to talk to you about. Starting the seeds indoors. I would really love to be able to make a video and show you the process for that, but I wouldn't be able to get it out in time for it to be useful for you this year, as well as stay on time with my timeline. I'm still going to film it because I'll post it later and it can be useful in the future, but for this year, it's just not going to happen. So I'll talk to you about it instead. I am stepping up my game starting my seeds indoors. I have not been good at it in the past because I wasn't going about it the right way. I have one measly little grow light that I got from one of those, store, like Tractor Supply or something. And I couldn't even tell you how many lumens it is. It does not do a great job. This house has 0 natural light. It sucks. The only window that I have natural light is in the main living room. There's no way for me to have it be separated from the rest of the house, and my cat Cheeto will eat all of my seedlings for sure. Definitely he will. So this is it. I'm in my front room. It's like a dining room / my studio, and we have French doors that we can close to have it be away from the rest of the house. No access for the animals. And I have a giant window. I'll have a picture for you. I have a giant window, but it's not true direct sunlight, and it's not gonna do the job on its own. I need artificial lighting. And like I said, the one light that I have is not nearly sufficient for everything that I'm trying to do this year. So I will be purchasing new grow lights, and in the video that I post where I go over this in depth, I will post that link. I don't know which ones I'm gonna get yet. I'm still researching it. I'm going to do heating mats. I understand that not all plants need a heating mat, so I won't use it for all of them, but I'll use it for like the tomatoes and the peppers and things like that. Also, I have this is convenient. Right now I have them on like a beer pong table, but I have in the basement one of those tiered shelving units, the like wire rack shelving units, and that's what I'm seeing everybody use to hang their grow lights from, to have it, tiered, and you can, have more than one layer of plants, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, YouTubers, for that idea. I'm certainly going to be implementing that for sure. That'll be great. So between the heating mats, the new lights, and the new shelving system that I'm gonna put together, I think I'll be a lot more successful than I've been in the past. Also, I've always used the peat pot, the peat pots, and I watched, I think it was M.I. Gardner, I'm pretty sure, and he was like, those aren't the best, they hang on to moisture, they get moldy. I'm sorry, I keep looking over here. I started a few seeds already just for funsies, just to make me feel better, knowing full well that they're probably not gonna work out, but just for me, because sprouts make me happy. And so I'm looking at my current setup, and it's amateur. It's like beyond amateur. So I use the peat pots, and he said that they're not the best, and I don't disagree. He brought up some points that were really valid, and it just doesn't seem like the best option for me. So I am going to convert over to the 72 cell plastic trays. I think that that's gonna work out best. I'm gonna use the bottom water system where you fill the bottom of the tray with water. It sucks up what it needs. You dump out the rest. You do that like every 3 to 4 days, depending on, various things. So between all of these things, I mean, I'm so happy. I've done so much research. I've learned so many things. I feel much better equipped to tackle this challenge, and I'm really, really excited to see how it works out. So you can follow along with me, obviously, on YouTube, but also on my Instagram. Here's my tag if you would like to follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting lots of updates and pictures there as well. But anyway, that's how I'm gonna start my seeds indoors. And then for the outdoors, this is what I'm most excited to talk to you about. I'm very excited for this whole plan that I've devised. I feel a little crazy because my husband's not interested in any of this, which is totally fine. Like, he doesn't have to be, but he doesn't share my enthusiasm. And then I'm also having my dad, who's a little more interested, but still not as interested in me. The two of them are gonna help me implement this, and both of them are like, great, this is a lot. And it is. It's quite the challenge. But I'm going to talk about it with you right now. I drew up a little diagram to help me better explain that to you. So be right back. Ta-da! This was actually really fun for me to make and really helped with my anxiety today. I felt like I was like a kid in school given colored pencils and told to go to town. Anyway, this is fun. So I drew my house and yard situation. Again, this depicts a 1/4 acre, and my house is pretty evenly in the middle. I have a big front yard, and I guess the backyard is a little bit bigger than the front yard. And so I wanted to come up with a plan. I really wanted to understand where I was gonna put all of these seeds, because yeah, it's so fun to go through the catalog and order this, and that, but like, am I actually gonna grow all of this? And if I do, where the hell am I gonna put it? So that's what I did this for. It helped me really understand. So road, front yard, the front of the house, garage, breezeway, house, front, back. This little scalloped border represents the fence. The entire backyard is fenced in. And then we also installed a patio last year, and it's kind of this weird L shape. And we have a shed down here, we've got the fire pit, and then along the side over here, I have my fruit bushes, raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry. Obviously those are staying, they're not moving. So that's what I have in terms of hard, not moving things that I have to work around. The front yard is tough because I have a giant tree that's like as tall as like 3 of these houses put on top of each other. It's a sun thief and the front of the house is incredibly shaded. It gets very little sun. I have, there's a front door here that we don't use, and then on either side we do have I guess kind of raised beds, hardly, and nothing's in them except a bunch of weeds because it's so shaded. So I did some research. I think maybe I'll plant, how do you say it, Helleborus there. It seems like that does well in the shade, and it's beautiful. It'll look pretty there, so I think I might try that. It's not really a part of my like gardening plan, it's more just for looks, but that's my plan for the front of the house. Very little is happening here. In the back, I have huge plans. Okay, it looks like you can actually see that pretty well. That's cool. The first huge thing that needs to happen here for this to be successful is raised garden beds. We need to build them. Each one of these little tags that you see here represents a raised garden bed. This plan that I have for my garden this year has me building 9 raised garden beds, and that's going to be quite the challenge. I've been setting money aside for it for a while now, not only to build the boxes, but also to fill them with the things that I need to have good quality soil for these plants. That's a big project, and I will be making a video about that, how to build them, how we chose to build them. The other project that we have that is kind of not as big as building the boxes, but still kind of big for me, right here, this is an arched trellis. This is back of the house. Inside the house here, there's a fireplace. On the outside of it is the chimney, and it starts from the ground and goes all the way up the back of the house. I'm going to build the arched trellis to be 5 feet wide, and I want it to come out from the back of the house about 8 feet. So that's my plan for that. I've never built an arched trellis before, but I've seen it on YouTube, and I've read things about it online. It doesn't seem like it'd be very difficult, but we're gonna give it a try. That'll be in the video as well. So my neighbors have a large tree on this side of the property that casts a shadow in the morning on this part of the property. So this doesn't get morning sun. The house casts a shadow here, and this doesn't get late afternoon sun. So this gets morning sun, but not late afternoon. This gets late afternoon, but doesn't get morning. Everything over here gets sun constantly, all the time, all day long, morning till the sun sets. This is obviously going to be shaded. This is going to be a little bit lighter. This side of the arched trellis is going to be more shaded than this side of the arched trellis. So just so you kind of have an idea of how the sun falls on all of this. Now, this is the part that I've researched heavily, and I hope I'm successful, but you really don't know until you try. Companion planting. I want to try and have 3 different types of plants per box. I'm not exactly sure how big these are going to be yet. It just depends on the materials that we end up getting for it. And I researched companion planting, which plants do well together, and I hope that it works out. I hope the plan that I have is a good one. So I'm going to go over this with you. Starting in the bottom corner, again, this doesn't get morning sun, but it gets sun for the rest of the day. I have asters, my Peruvian zinnias, and my African daisies planted in a box together. I have the black cherry tomatoes, the candy floss cosmos, and my bell peppers in a box together. And then I have lettuce, spinach, and calendula in a box together. It seemed like those, I literally read online that cosmos and tomatoes do well, and calendula and lettuce does well. This I didn't research, I just threw them together because I didn't have anywhere else to put them. And then over here, this one is special. I'm gonna do my cucumber and zucchini, but I would like another arched trellis like up here, just going over the box. I'd like to try growing my cucumber and zucchini vertically. I don't have any experience with it. I've seen other people do it, and my cucumbers have not done very well in the past because I did not grow them vertically. So fingers crossed that they do better. This is the area that I'm most excited for. I think this is going to be really fun. I'm wondering if I'll be able to walk underneath this, if it's truly as big as I think it's going to be. I'm pretty short, so I think I'll be able to make that work. The chimney juts out 1 foot 11 inches. So I'm gonna build, and then from the chimney to the edge of the house is 5 feet 8 inches. So that's quite a long, and it's symmetrical on both sides. I'm gonna build a little baby raised bed. It's not gonna be quite like these, probably not as tall. Little baby beds, and over here, this one's gonna get more sun. I wanna plant lilies. Lilies are actually my favorite flower, but they're poisonous to cats, and we have cats, so I don't grow a lot of them, and I'll have to put them in the room where I can keep the door shut. And then I'm not sure, so the hose spigot is right here, and it drips. We need to get it fixed. So this is always a very wet area, so I can't have anything there that needs to be, like well-drained soil, they say. That's not the case. So I guess hibiscus might work there. It didn't particularly say well drained. I don't know. We're gonna try it and see if it works out. Now, for the arched trellis, I'm going to also have little baby raised beds here. They're not gonna be quite to the same caliber as these, but I'm still gonna have them be raised beds. And in them, I'm going to do carrots. And then on the other side, phlox. Phlox, it seemed, needs more sun than the carrots, so we're gonna give that a try. On this side of the arched trellis, where it's not getting as much sun, I'm going to do my Sure Snap peas and my Blushing Susie, Black-Eyed Susan vine. And then on this side, I'm just going to do green beans. I want a lot of green beans this year. So this is the plan for this right here. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be visually very appealing, and I'm just really excited to see how these methods of gardening work out for me. Now over here, we've got the patio. I'm going to grow all of my dahlias this year in grow bags on the patio. I am going to get all of my dahlia tubers from box stores, Home Depot, wherever I can find them. I am not going to start growing dahlias for the very first time using the really nice tubers from like Floret and things like that. I have zero experience growing dahlias, and I really just want to try and figure it out before I spring for the really, really nice varieties. So I'm going to start with what I find at like Home Depot and Tractor Supply, things like that, and I'm just going to grow them in grow bags. I am going to attempt to save overwinter the tubers, and we'll see how that works out. I'll make a video about it. Successful or not, it's still learning, right? Then I have 3 more full-sized raised garden beds here. I'm going to do my Amazing Gray poppies, my Baby's Breath, and my Mother of Pearl poppies in one. I have the Sweetheart tomato and the Martino's Roma. I am going to plant my tomatoes and basil together. I've read that it does well together. We'll see. Then I'm going to do my Rainbow Celosias, some kind of zinnia, and my Flamingo Celosias together. This fence line here gets a lot of sun all day long, full sun. So I'm going to try my hand at sunflowers. I have never grown them in the north. I grew them in Kentucky and they did great. I don't know how they're going to do here. I'm going to try, and I'm going to grow them along this fence. Now over here along the garage, this gets pretty good sun from like noon to end of day sun. It gets a good amount of sun. And it's not an area of the yard that I frequent or look at a lot. So I'm going to have it be my for fun, just throw some seeds down wildflower area. I'm just going to I bought this fun zinnia mix from the Dollar General, and it's like an assortment. So I'm going to throw it there along with some other things and just see what I get. I think it's going to be really fun, maybe something to just bring me some extra joy, something that I don't have to put as much time, effort, and intention into. So this is my plan for my garden this year, and I'm just very excited to see what's successful, and I'm actually equally excited to see what's not successful so I can learn from it, see why, and do better in the future. All right, that's my plan for 2022. I'm also, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this discussion, this back and forth. I am getting chickens this year. I really went back and forth, couldn't decide what I wanted to do because I live on a 1/4 acre and only half of that is my backyard where I would have them. So I wasn't sure if it was right for me, but gosh, I just want them so bad. And I was speaking with my neighbor across the street about it. He has 15 chickens in a very similarly sized lot, and he does fine. So I decided to pull the trigger. I have my little chicks on order, and I have also ordered my chicken coop from a guy who builds them in Vermont, and he's going to bring it over to me in April. I am so excited, you guys. Oh, I have always wanted chickens. I feel like that is a big step towards being a true homesteader because, don't get me wrong, I want all of it. Chickens, ducks, turkeys, pigs, I want it all. But that's not realistic for me now or anytime in the near future. So I think chickens are, well, what do they say? They're the gateway animal, right? And I think that's true. It's not going to take much for me. One little chick, I'm hooked. I'm done. It's over. So I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm getting 6. I'm doing 2 Buff Orpingtons, 2 Barred Rocks, and 2 Australorps. I have their names picked out already. So stay tuned for that because I will certainly be putting videos together about that for sure. God, this year, just there's so much negativity surrounding me right now, like a lot. I had a good, healthy mental breakdown in my car after work yesterday. A lot of stress is going in my life right now, but I also have this that we've talked about today. I have all of these plans for these beautiful flowers, and I'm getting my chickens, and this YouTube channel has brought me so much direction, somewhere to really channel all of this passion that I have, you know, into something that makes me happy and will hopefully make other people happy eventually. So this has been really good for me, and I'm so excited to learn and grow and be able to really cultivate some skills, some real life skills. Being able to can and preserve this food for me and for my family is going to be huge. And being able to create cut flowers and learn how to put together bouquets and maybe sell those in the future, I think that's going to bring me a lot of joy. So this is just, I mean, you have one life, you know, and I want to do so much more than I'm doing. I'm, you know, going to work, I come home, I put together some kind of dinner, and we watch TV. Like, not that I dislike my life, I love my life, and I love Tom, and I love this house, and I love what we've built together, but it's just all so repetitive, and I don't see a lot of worth in some of it. You know, like with TV, I've kind of stopped watching Netflix and I've started watching YouTube. If I'm gonna sit in front of the TV, I'm gonna learn something. You know, I was in front of the TV last night and Tom came out of his game room and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Working." He was like, "What do you mean you're working?" And I had something about chickens on YouTube, and in the meantime, I was on my phone Googling which of my seeds need full sun and which of my seeds can do fine with part sun, so that I could finish getting my information together to put together this video. And I was doing that at 9:30 last night. I'm not just gonna sit on the couch and do nothing and waste time. It's wasting time. I don't know. That's kind of how I've been feeling. I've been feeling like these days are going by and I'm not doing anything that really enriches me. I'm going to work and that's doing something and I'm being productive, but it's not enriching me, you know? So I don't know. I'm ranting. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to get too ranty in my videos, but I just kind of want you to understand where my heart's at and where my head's at, where I'm coming from with these things. And if I can teach you anything, it's how to sprinkle skill and productivity into your everyday life. I don't expect anybody to up and quit what they're doing and completely change over to this other lifestyle, but if you can even sprinkle it, if you can just grow some zinnias and have cut flowers in your kitchen when you wake up in the morning, that's bringing you a little extra joy that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And maybe you go to work with a smile on your face because of it. Or if you learn how to can green beans and you're able to use, you know, green beans that you grew in your garden in a dish that you're making in December, that's awesome. That's awesome, you know? So that's what I want this channel to be. And I know I'm not gonna be ranty like this in all of my videos, but this is my first gardening video that I'm posting up on this channel. So this is kind of what you can expect. And in terms of, you know, the things I'm gonna be talking about, not the ranting. I'm gonna not do that every single time, I promise. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna let you go. That is my plan for 2022. I can't wait to get started. Lots more content like this coming in the future. So if you enjoyed this or if you're interested in these things, please subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified of my videos in the future. Awesome. Have a blessed day.